I've been with Melissa, 25F, for 5 years now. We met during our sophomore year of college at a mutual friend's birthday party. I remember being struck by her confidence and infectious laugh. Melissa was the life of the party, while I was the guy hanging out by the snack table. Somehow, we ended up talking about our shared love of 90s sitcoms, and the rest is history. Our relationship started off great. We balanced each other out. Her outgoing nature pushed me out of my comfort zone, while my calm demeanor helped ground her. We had our fair share of college adventures, from road trips to cramming for finals together. After graduation, we both landed jobs in the same city and decided to give the real world a shot together. Melissa comes from a well-off family. Her parents own a successful chain of boutique hotels, and she grew up accustomed to a certain lifestyle. I, on the other hand, come from a middle-class background. My parents are both teachers, and I worked part-time jobs throughout college to help with expenses. These differences never seemed to matter much when we were students, but they became more apparent as we settled into our careers. I started as a junior accountant at a mid-sized firm, while Melissa landed a job as a marketing coordinator for a trendy tech startup. Her job came with a lot of perks, fancy office parties, networking events, and a culture that encouraged living your best life, and posting about it on social media. I was happy for her success, but I started to notice a change in her priorities. Melissa became increasingly focused on maintaining a certain image, both online and in real life. She'd spend hours curating the perfect Instagram post, and our dates started to revolve around finding the most photogenic restaurants or events. At first, I found it amusing, but over time, it began to wear on me. I'm a private person by nature, and constantly being asked to pose for photos or check in at locations made me uncomfortable. Despite these growing differences, I was still deeply in love with Melissa. I loved her ambition, her zest for life, and the way she could light up a room. We had talked about marriage on and off for the past year, and I felt ready to take that step. I got a promotion at work, moving up to a senior accountant position, which came with a nice salary bump. It felt like the right time to propose. I spent months planning what I thought would be the perfect proposal. I remembered Melissa once mentioning how she loved the idea of a cozy mountain getaway, so I booked us a weekend at a rustic chic resort upstate. I chose a ring that I thought suited her style, a 1.5-carat diamond in a rose gold setting. It wasn't the biggest rock, but it was elegant and, importantly, within my budget. The weekend started off great. We arrived at the resort on Friday evening, and I had arranged for a romantic dinner at the hotel's acclaimed restaurant. Melissa seemed to be enjoying herself, though she did comment that the lighting wasn't great for photos. After dinner, I suggested a moonlit walk around the resort's grounds. The night was clear, and the stars were bright. It felt magical. I led Melissa to a scenic overlook I had scouted earlier. My heart was pounding as I got down on one knee and pulled out the ring. I had practiced a heartfelt speech, telling Melissa how much I loved her and how I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. But before I could get through half of it, I noticed her expression change. She looked disappointed. When I finished my speech and asked her to marry me, Melissa hesitated. The silence felt like it stretched for hours. Finally, she said, "I'm sorry, but I can't say yes to this." I felt like I had been punched in the gut. Confused and hurt, I asked her what was wrong. Melissa's eyes welled up with tears as she explained that while she loved me, the proposal wasn't what she had envisioned. She had been hoping for something more Instagrammable, her exact word. She mentioned wanting a professional photographer to capture the moment, saying she had always dreamed of having a proposal she could share with the world. Then came the comment about the ring. Melissa said it was cute but not quite her style. She admitted she had been expecting at least a 2-carat diamond, preferably in a platinum setting. I was stunned. We had never discussed specific ring preferences, and I had no idea she had such exact expectations. The rest of the weekend was awkward and tense. We barely spoke during the drive home on Sunday. I felt embarrassed, hurt, and frankly, a little angry. I had put so much thought and effort into making this moment special, and it felt like none of that mattered to Melissa. Once we got home, Melissa seemed to switch gears. She started acting like nothing had happened, chatting about work and making plans for the week as usual. But she also began showing me elaborate proposal videos on Instagram and TikTok, commenting on how romantic and creative they were. It felt like she was hinting that I should try again, this time meeting her unstated expectations. I'm at a loss. Part of me wonders if I'm overreacting. Melissa has always been into social media and appearances, so maybe I should have anticipated this reaction. But another part of me feels like this is a major red flag about our compatibility and values. Looking back, I can see other instances where our different backgrounds and priorities have caused friction. Melissa often suggests expensive restaurants or designer stores for shopping trips, not seeming to understand when I express concern about the cost. She's made comments about my wardrobe, suggesting I need to upgrade my style to fit in better with her coworkers and friends. There was even an incident last year where she was upset that I wouldn't split the cost of a luxury handbag she wanted for her birthday, even though it was way out of my budget. My friends and family are shocked by her reaction to the proposal. My best friend thinks I should break up with her, saying that Melissa seems more interested in a wedding than a marriage. My sister, always the peacemaker, suggests giving Melissa another chance, thinking maybe she just got caught up in the moment and reacted poorly. I'm torn and don't know what to do. I love Melissa, and we have 5 years of history together. But this incident has made me question whether we truly want the same things in life. Am I wrong for being upset about this? Should I try to recreate a more elaborate proposal to make her happy? Or is this a sign that we're not on the same page for our future together? I feel like I'm at a crossroads, and I'm not sure which path to take. Any advice would be appreciated. Update 1. It's been a week since my original post, and I want to thank everyone for their responses. Your advice and support have been incredibly helpful as I navigate this difficult situation. A lot has happened in the past few days, and I felt it was time for an update. After reading through the comments on my original post, I realized that I needed to have a serious conversation with Melissa about our future. The proposal incident wasn't just about a ring or a photo opportunity, it highlighted some fundamental differences in our values and expectations. I invited Melissa over to my apartment last Tuesday evening. I had spent the day mentally preparing for the conversation, trying to organize my thoughts and feelings. When she arrived, I could tell she sensed something was off. We sat down on the couch, and I took a deep breath before diving in. I started by explaining how hurt I was by her reaction to the proposal. I told her that I had put a lot of thought and effort into making it special, and her rejection made me feel like my efforts weren't valued. I also expressed my concerns about our differing expectations for our life together. Melissa's initial reaction was defensive. She accused me of being basic and not understanding her dreams. She pulled out her phone and started showing me her Pinterest board, full of images of extravagant weddings, designer engagement rings, and luxury honeymoon destinations. "This is what I've always wanted," she said. "Don't you want me to be happy?" I tried to gently point out that these things were way out of our budget. I explained that while I wanted to build a beautiful life together, it needed to be within our means. I suggested that we could work towards some of these goals over time, but we needed to be realistic. Melissa's response shocked me. She suggested that I get a second job or ask my parents for money to fund her dream wedding and lifestyle. When I reminded her that my parents were teachers and didn't have that kind of money to give, she scoffed and said, "Well, I guess they should have chosen better careers." I was floored by her insensitivity. It was like I was seeing a side of Melissa I had never fully recognized before. As we continued talking, it became clear that Melissa had a very different vision for our life together than I did. She wanted a lifestyle that we simply couldn't afford, and she didn't seem to care about the stress and sacrifice it would take to achieve it. The conversation took an even worse turn when Melissa revealed that she had already told all her friends and family about the failed proposal. I was hurt and angry that she had shared such a private moment without my consent. But what really got to me was how she had twisted the story. According to Melissa, I hadn't put any effort into the proposal, and the ring was embarrassingly small. She had painted herself as the victim of my thoughtlessness. I felt betrayed. Not only had Melissa rejected my heartfelt proposal, but she had also misrepresented the situation to make herself look better at my expense. It made me question how many other times she might have done this throughout our relationship. We talked for hours, going in circles. Melissa alternated between defending her actions and accusing me of not loving her enough to give her what she wanted. By the end of the night, we were both exhausted and emotional. I told Melissa I needed some time to think about our relationship. She left in tears, saying I was being selfish and immature. The next day, I was shocked to see that Melissa had posted a cryptic message on Instagram. It said something about knowing your worth and not settling for less than you deserve. Her friends were commenting with supportive messages, clearly thinking I was the villain in this situation. It felt like another betrayal, airing our private issues on social media for attention and sympathy. I'm feeling lost and conflicted. On one hand, I still love Melissa. We have 5 years of history together, and there are many things about her that I adore. But on the other hand, this incident has forced me to confront some hard truths about our relationship. The materialistic side of her seems to be taking over, and I'm not sure I can keep up with her demands, or that I want to. I've decided to take a week off from communication with Melissa to clear my head. I'm going to stay with my brother for a few days to get some perspective. He's always been a good sounding board, and I think some distance from the situation will help me think more clearly. I know I have a big decision to make about our future. Part of me hopes that Melissa will realize how her actions have affected me and that we can find a way to work through this. But another part wonders if this is a fundamental incompatibility that we can't overcome. I'll update again once I've had some time to process everything. Thank you all again for your support during this difficult time. Your insights and advice have been invaluable. Update 2. It's been about 2 weeks since my last update, and I wanted to fill you all in on what's been happening. A lot has changed, and I'm still processing everything. After spending a week at my brother's place, I came back feeling more clear-headed about the situation with Melissa. The time away gave me a chance to reflect on our relationship as a whole, not just the proposal incident. I realized that our relationship had been rocky for a while, but I'd been ignoring the red flags. I decided it was time to meet with Melissa and have an honest conversation about our future. We agreed to meet at a quiet coffee shop in town, neutral ground for both of us. I arrived early and found a secluded corner where we could talk privately. When Melissa arrived, I could tell she was nervous. We ordered our drinks and sat in awkward silence for a few minutes before I finally spoke up. I calmly explained my feelings and concerns about our differing values and expectations. I told her that while I cared for her deeply, I wasn't sure we were compatible in the long run. Melissa's reaction surprised me. Instead of getting defensive like before, she broke down in tears. She admitted that she'd been feeling insecure about our relationship and thought a grand proposal would prove my love to her friends and family. She also confessed that she'd been struggling with comparing our life to the seemingly perfect one she saw on social media. While I appreciated her honesty, it didn't change the fundamental issues in our relationship. I gently suggested that maybe she should talk to someone about her insecurities and social media addiction. Melissa didn't take this well and accused me of calling her crazy. The conversation quickly devolved from there. Melissa started bringing up old arguments and blaming me for everything wrong in our relationship. She even accused me of never really loving her because I wouldn't step up and give her the lifestyle she wanted. It was at that moment that I knew there was no salvaging the relationship. I told Melissa that I thought it was best if we went our separate ways. She didn't take it well, alternating between begging me to reconsider and lashing out in anger. It was painful to watch, but I knew I had to stand firm in my decision. The hardest part came when we had to disentangle our lives. We didn't live together, but we had a lot of shared belongings and friend groups. Melissa made things difficult by spreading her version of events to our friends, painting herself as the victim. Some mutual friends took her side, which was painful. One particularly difficult moment was when Melissa's parents got involved. They called me, expressing their disappointment and trying to persuade me to give the relationship another chance. It was uncomfortable having to explain my reasons for ending things, especially when they brought up the financial support they had occasionally provided for our dates and trips. The past week has been a roller coaster of emotions. I'm sad about the end of a 5-year relationship, but I also feel a sense of relief. I realize now that I had been compromising my own values and happiness to try to meet Melissa's ever-increasing demands. I'm focusing on healing and rediscovering myself now. I've picked up some old hobbies I had neglected, like playing guitar and hiking. I'm also spending more time with friends who have been supportive throughout this ordeal. It's been nice to reconnect with people I had drifted away from during my relationship with Melissa. It's not easy, but I know I made the right decision for my future. I'm learning to trust my instincts and value my own needs and boundaries. While I'm not ready to think about dating again, I'm hopeful about what the future might hold. Thank you all again for your advice and support. It really helped me find the strength to do what was best for me. Update 3. It's been about a month since my last update, and I wanted to share some final thoughts on this chapter of my life. The breakup with Melissa has been tough, but I'm slowly starting to feel like myself again. I've had a lot of time to reflect on our relationship and my own needs and values. It's been a process of rediscovery in many ways. Unfortunately, Melissa didn't take the breakup well. She's been posting passive-aggressive comments on social media and trying to turn our mutual friends against me. It's been hurtful to see her act this way, but I'm doing my best to take the high road and not engage. I've muted her on all social media platforms to give myself some peace. On a positive note, this experience has helped me reconnect with some old friends I had drifted away from during my relationship. My college roommate, Alex, reached out after hearing about the breakup. We hadn't spoken much in the past couple of years, but it was like no time had passed. We've been meeting up weekly for basketball games, just like we used to. It's been a great outlet and a reminder of the importance of maintaining friendships outside of a romantic relationship. I've also been spending more time with my family. My parents have been incredibly supportive, offering words of encouragement and home-cooked meals. My sister even flew in for a weekend to cheer me up. It's moments like these that make me appreciate the people who truly have my back. As for my career, the promotion I got before all this happened has been keeping me busy, which is a welcome distraction. I've thrown myself into some challenging projects at work, and it's been rewarding to focus on my professional growth. My boss has noticed my increased dedication and hinted at potential opportunities for advancement in the near future. I've started a new routine of going for morning runs in the park near my apartment. It's been a great way to clear my head and start the day on a positive note. I'm even considering signing up for a half marathon later this year, something I've always wanted to do but never found the time for when I was with Melissa. Looking back, I can see now that Melissa and I were never truly compatible. We wanted different things out of life, and no amount of love could bridge that gap. While it's painful, I'm grateful that I discovered this before we got married or became even more entangled in each other's lives. There are still moments when I miss Melissa or wonder what if, but they're becoming less frequent. I'm learning to appreciate the lessons from our relationship without dwelling on the past. I know that moving forward, I'll be more aware of my own needs and values in a relationship. I haven't started dating again, and I'm in no rush to do so. Right now, I'm focusing on myself and rebuilding my life as an individual. I've started reading more, trying out new recipes, and even signed up for a photography class, something I've always been interested in but never pursued because Melissa thought it was boring. One unexpected outcome of this whole experience has been a shift in my perspective on social media. I've become more mindful of my online presence and the content I consume. I've unfollowed accounts that made me feel inadequate and instead started following more positive, inspiring pages. It's amazing how much of a difference this small change has made in my overall outlook. To anyone going through a similar situation, my advice would be to trust your gut and don't compromise your values for someone else's unrealistic expectations. It's better to be single than to be with someone who doesn't appreciate you for who you are. And remember, healing takes time, be patient with yourself. Thank you all for your support throughout this journey. Your comments and messages have been a source of strength and clarity during a difficult time. While this chapter of my life is closing, I'm looking forward to writing the next one on my own terms.